years. Then the city, of course, found a more useful project, using it for the exhibition and then developing the park. Stop 10. I currently have 25 seats. All right, everybody good with pictures? Yeah. Okay. We're going to keep on moving here. Now, we're on the west end side of downtown Nashville. Downtown Nashville is about 45 square miles, and we drive about 14 miles of that as we tour Nashville. This side of Nashville, West End, houses a lot of the alumni and present-day students for Vanderbilt University. In fact, this side is considered to be the pulse, with Broadway being the heartbeat of Nashville. On this side of town, it still has a nightlife, and it has the convenience of shopping and dining being in walking distances of each other. But one of my favorite things about this side of town is parking is free. Now, as we get up here to this next light, we're going to make a left, and making a left on West End Avenue, if you would notice after we make the left, the businesses, about 30% of them are owned and operated by Vanderbilt and its alumni. On behalf of the old Dudley Field Stadium closing down. Any Vandy fans on board? Anybody? No worries, me either. But the Commodores football team is a SEC conference team, and they have not been that successful. They've been in the SEC conference since almost the SEC conference beginnings. They've only won about 6 divisional titles, which is not that rewarding or competitive for that conference. But not far from the football stadium is the baseball field. And that team has been in the playoffs for the last 7 or 8 years and winning the Nationals in 2011 and in 2014. Now, the Tennessee Titans played their delayed season in 1997 at Vanderbilt Stadium due to a tornado destroying them opening up at the once LP field downtown. The next year, the city voted on the name Titans. Back then, they were the Tennessee Oilers. In '98, they got the name Titans. And then they finished construction for the LP field downtown and opened up and played that year in season at that stadium. Now, does the name Aaron Andrews ring a bell to anyone? Aaron Andrews, ESPN broadcaster that had the peeping Tom. All right, if you look to your right, it all took place at this Marriott Hotel right here. And I'm not one that condones a peeping Tom by no means, but Aaron made out pretty well. She was awarded by the courts over $30 million, all of which she donated to charity. But it is from Marriott and that street, Natchez Trace, where Vanderbilt's campus starts on the right side, and it goes in our direction we're going about 6 to 7 blocks. They have a rather large campus, but they're not the largest university in Tennessee. They are the 6th or 7th largest, kind of hitting the numbers with the University of Memphis. Both of those schools have a population that wanders from about 12 to 14,000 any given semester. The largest university for Tennessee would be UT, beating out Middle Tennessee State University a couple years back. They have a population of 38 to 40,000, with Middle Tennessee having a population of 35 to 38. Now, at the West End Methodist Church on the left-hand side, this is where Minnie Pearl was a member and also married to Mr. Cannon. And this is our stop number 11 for Vanderbilt University. Now, Vanderbilt University takes its pride more so in medical. They have been in the top 20 medical universities as ranked, the top 20 in rating over the past 10 years now. They currently hold 18th in their rankings. Now, Tennessee has 3 level 1 trauma centers. One is in Chattanooga, one is in Memphis, and the one for Middle Tennessee. Unfortunately, those that need life flight for Middle Tennessee is brought here to Vanderbilt's Research Hospital for the level 1 trauma center for this area. Now, for those who are saving up for their child's education or maybe helping out with their grandchild's education, send here to Vanderbilt for the cost of about $66,000 a year. That'll cover dorm, meals, and tuition. And for the cost of $44,000 a year, that'll get you in for tuition. And it took me about 3 months to say that with a straight face. Now, some of Vanderbilt's alumni, to name a few, I named 4. Rather lengthy, but I named 4. Ex-Vice President Al Gore, singer and songwriter Amy Grant, and then from the 90s Chicago Bulls team, the Jordan and Pippen team, they had 2 centers from Vanderbilt, Will Perdue and Stacey King. Now this street we're on is 21st Avenue. If we were to make a right, it would continue being 21st, and again go up the 6 to 7 blocks, and on the right is Vanderbilt's campus, the Research Hospital, and Children's Hospital. Now, we like to have what we call a little trivia to see if you learn a little something about Nashville today. And I'll make the questions a little easy. They're not going to be hard. Question number 1. Who let the dogs out? Charlotte Robertson, that's right. Easy question, right? Question number 2. If you heard me mention it. What is the state bird for Tennessee? State bird for Tennessee. Mockingbird? Yes. Well, it's been changed. If you look to the left, it's now the crane. They're flying around everywhere. Now we're going to make a right on Division Street, and this area, Division Street, it is known for having university students to occupy this area. In fact, they flood this street more so on the weekend in the numbers of 700 to 1,000 where you can barely drive through. And they will actually migrate to the areas of these bars on the right-hand side. And while we're passing them, I got to mention them. We got Rebar, the first bar that they will go to. We have Winner's Bar coming up next, and then next to it is Loser's Bar. Now, has anybody heard of Hattie B's Hot Chicken? Yes. All right, they've been traced on the Food Network channel, and our stop 11.5 is coming up here for those who get thirsty, and also for a hot chicken. And Hattie B's will be on the left-hand side here. Now, Hattie B's has been traced on the Food Network channel, but hot chicken in Nashville has been around since 1940. And the founder of hot chicken is Prince, and it's called Prince's Hot Chicken. Now, Prince, he was known for being a womanizer in his time, and his girlfriend caught him cheating. And to get even with him, she cooked him some chicken. But before she cooked it, she rolled it in cayenne peppers and a lot of other peppers, and then covered it with flour, and then of course fried it. She sat down with a smile to serve Prince. And after a gallon of water, Prince said he actually liked it. So he conspired her after he made up with her to make the chicken, and they went around in tents around Nashville selling the chicken. Then they raised money and got a partner to invest, and they built Prince's Hot Chicken Shack. So they've been around since 1940. Now at Prince's Hot Chicken Shack, they only serve you mild if you say you never had it, because it's been known that medium chicken has sent people in paramedics. So for those who try the chicken, just keep that in mind. Now for those who are familiar with Generation 1 Saturday Night Live, they had one from that generation, Gilda Radner. And to me she was hilarious. It was one of my favorite. But she passed away of cancer. On the right hand side they formulated and started Gilda's Club. And they're celebrating 15 years of providing free cancer support. Now we're going to make two rights. The second right will land us on the first side for Music Row Square. And to start off, Nashville has registered over 200 now studios inside of the city. 15% of them are located in this area of Music Row. And I'll do my best to name them as we drive along. And if you could, be on the lookout for the banners on the premises or near the premises. That'll also give you an indication as to the development of different artists in that specific area that you see the banner. Now the first building that I point out is ASCAP. ASCAP collect royalties for the artists, and they're a non-profit. Last year they collected right at a tinge over $1 billion, and they distributed right at $840 million. And by them being a non-profit, I would suspect that they get paid generously. I put in a resume there about 5 months ago, and I yet to hear from them. I'm kind of disappointed in them. And next to ASCAP is Sony Music Publishing. Sony is the largest music publishing in the world today. And about 4 months ago, the Michael Jackson estate sold the shares that Michael Jackson had that was said to be worth almost a couple of billion. They sold them out for $400 million. Now the first little studio coming up, the little brown building, RCA Victor Studio B. Now, one word to explain this studio artist-wise would be Elvis Presley, of course amongst many, but he recorded over 200 hits inside of the studio. He was invited next door to try out Studio A, which was built after Studio B. Elvis rejected it and said it felt like a hospital, it was too big, so back to Studio B he went. Next to Studio A, we have Starstruck Entertainment. This is Reba McEntire's studio. She aired a show inside, and it also is complete with a restaurant inside and also a pad on top for landing her helicopter. On our right, next to the white building, the brown brick building houses a lot of the radio stations for Nashville. And typically, artists after recording will come up and air live almost every other day on some of those radio stations. The red brick building on our right hand side is Broken Bow Records, or the BBR group. They've recorded many artists. One we're probably all familiar with would be Eric Church. Now, have you ever heard of the humorous song called Taylor Swift is Stalking Me? Has anyone heard that song? When you get a chance, Google that song. I thought the guy was serious, but one responsible for that song is straight ahead, across the light on the right, the Ray Stevens group. So they're responsible for that song and many other humorous-like songs. of this next light is the most expensive studio for Music Row. And usually artists, and I pointed out once we get closer to it, but artists that are coming up that want to make a name for themselves will fork up the cost because they're known for putting that quality touch and sound into their studio and their productions. Artists from touching on many different genres, starting at gospel. You have BB and CC Winans, Carrie Underwood, Taylor Swift, moving on to Jason Aldean, Florida Georgia Line, Brad Paisley, Miley Cyrus, Meghan Trainor, Garth Brooks, Eric Church. I can run out of breath before I finish naming them. But it used to be an old church building. It's called Ocean Way. So on the inside of it, the infrastructure is made of wood. And it also is sectioned off in different categories. And it's on the left-hand side. 2 weeks ago, they had a video here. And it's yet to be revealed as to who the video and for what artist it was for. And there are two studios that allow tours. The first studio is RCA Victor Studio B. And that venue or building and now it's owned by Country Music Hall of Fame. So if you wanted to tour inside the studio there, the Hall of Fame will give you hours of operation with their charter that they provide that comes out here. And I can tell you this, as a part of the tour you'll see inside it has a desk or a cabinet that Elvis kicked a hole in when he was frustrated one day in recording. Tours, and you'll see the little sign in front of it with the roof on it. As a part of Jay's tour, they show you exactly how a song is formulated from start to finish. Now the last two buildings I'll talk about on this side will be on the end here. The one next to the one on the end on the left will be renovated. And the one on the end actually is about 80% done. And once we get up closer to them, I'll tell you who actually owns that studio. So before we get there, does anyone have any questions on this side of Music Row?